What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I am on a walk, but I'm going to be talking about nutrition for combat sports athletes and fighters, and what you need to fuel your training properly and to be the best possible athlete you can be, especially when it comes to combat sports, because combat sports are extremely demanding. And these are just my few principles that I apply to my training, and I notice a big difference when I'm not really locked in with my nutrition and when I just kind of slack off and maybe let it go a little bit. My hair is kind of chopped today. Oh man. Alright, starting off with the number one thing, in my opinion, it's going to be hydration. I think if you are not hydrating enough, you're going to end up in the long term really sacrificing a lot. Like, you're going to end up screwing your performance over, and it's really just going to, it's going to mess with you. And I'm telling you, people really neglect hydration. They neglect putting salt in their water. They neglect the simple things. But you need those simple things like salt and electrolytes. Even if it's just some small electrolyte supplement, you need it to help you perform in your sport. Like, people don't realize when you're training as a combat sports athlete, you lose an extreme amount of sweat. Like, our sport, you lose a lot of sweat, and so having salt in your water and having lemon in your water, all that stuff, the simple things like a quality pink Himalayan sea salt, in my opinion, is the best, and a quality electrolyte supplement, something like Mandatory or Santa Cruz Electrolytes, something like that. Those two brands are really good. Those are going to be the things you want. You don't want like the liquid IV bullshit, because that's really not going to help you. You don't want like fake sports drinks with Red 40 in them. You want literally straight good electrolytes. My number one rule of thumb when doing this is going to be, electrolytes in training, keeping salt. I put salt in my water, and I use coconut water and stuff. That's going to be one. And then another one is going to be, electrolytes after training. One thing that I noticed, if I train really hard in the morning, say I have to MMA at night, and I hit my bag for maybe 2 hours in the morning, that's a long time. Or I lift and I also do like sprint intervals and I hit my bag, that's a long time. So by midday, I'm fucking exhausted, and I don't want to be exhausted like that. So what I do is I put salt in my water and stuff, and I drink coconut water afterward. I notice personally, this isn't like, this could be placebo, but me personally, dude, I feel so much better, and I don't get that groggy, tired feeling. Yeah, I still get tired because, I just train super hard, but I'm not as dead as I would be if I didn't have electrolytes, right? Next up, which I think is one of the most important things, is timing your carbs and your fats and stuff before your workout, your carbs mainly, because carbs are what fuel the athletes. Like, we are not run off of fats, and protein is not an energy source, really. It's like your body's last resort option. You don't really want to be burning protein, because that means your body's burning muscle. So your biggest thing is you want to burn carbs, and you want some fats that burn, but mainly you want to burn carbs, because carbohydrates are gonna burn good, and they're gonna give you a lot of energy, because your blood sugar is gonna be through the roof. And that's kind of what you want. Now, I'm not saying I want you to be diabetic or eat a bunch of sugar and stuff, but one of the biggest things is a lot of people neglect is, I don't want carbs, I don't want this, because carbs are going to make me fat. But in reality, that's false. Carbs do not make combat sports athletes fat. I don't know where that narrative has been pushed, but it's not a good narrative. I recommend timing your carbs around 60 to 90 minutes before your workout. Eat a higher carb snack, bigger snack, maybe that be sourdough with honey and banana, or sourdough with maple syrup. I don't know, some people do weird. I've done that before, and it helps. I'm telling you, dude, I noticed the biggest difference. I wouldn't be telling you these things if I didn't notice the difference. I really do. Like, I will not put something in this video if I do not notice a difference. My biggest go-to right now has been 3 Medjool dates with like dark chocolate in them. I don't know what that does. I know dark chocolate has some fats, but genuinely I felt really good in like my pad work. Sparring yesterday, I sparred yesterday. I did like 6 rounds, 6 to 8 rounds after I did a bunch of pad work and stuff. And dude, you feel good. You feel really good, especially when you time your carbs properly. Honey in mid workout is another good one. Timing your carbs mid workout. If you have a really long workout or a really long training session, like sometimes I have 4 hour training sessions, not like at once, but like 4 hour overall during the day. I need, in between those the hour mark, I need honey. You need honey, or you need something that's gonna help you, because at some point your body's just gonna be running off just straight fumes, bro. Fumes, and just a prayer. You need a prayer at some point, you know what I mean? So some really good carb sources for this are gonna be rice cakes, honey, maple syrup, sourdough, bananas, fruit like dates, stuff like that. I don't know about apples that much. I don't really like apples before training, but bananas are another good one. And I salt my bananas. Again, electrolytes. I salt my bananas. That's nasty. I salt my bananas. I salt my dates. I salt all that stuff because it makes me feel pretty good. And you can combine all these things. Just find weird combinations like rice cakes and dates. I like that. That's another good one. So next up is going to be the meals you feed yourself after training, and the meals you feed yourself for lunch, and like your actual meals, not just like your pre-workout meals or your pre-training meals or whatever, or like in between training. The next step is going to be that. So how important are these meals? These are the most important meals because these are the meals that are going to help you recover from your intensive training sessions. A lot of our training sessions are usually pretty rough. Maybe they're lighter ones. Okay, not bad. Maybe we just need a small, simple meal, or we just need a little snack, which isn't bad. But you want to eat foods that are gonna fuel your body. I don't think going home and eating a massive piece, but half a cake is going to fuel your training, although it would be amazing. Don't get me wrong, I love cake, I love desserts. That I am a sucker for all that stuff because my mom really likes to bake. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna go home and eat all of that. I might treat myself maybe once a day to something small since my workload's crazy, or I might treat myself to it once a week or once every few days, but I don't go home and just gargle down a massive cake. And we're gonna get a little deep here. I used to have a really, really bad binge eating disorder, and I used to I could go home after training and I could literally eat half a fucking cake. Like, that's fucking crazy. And I'll put a picture on screen of what I looked like. I was like 175 pounds, and I just don't know why. But yeah, I never really got like fat. I kept my abs. However, I did get like more muscular and a little like chunky. I got a little big, and I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. However, it's just, you can't do anything about it. And I changed that. I changed my diet up. Maybe that caused more of a worse like eating disorder or whatever, but we won't get deep into that because that's a whole different topic. So the foods that are gonna fuel your body and fuel your mind and fuel your training are the whole natural foods. It's like 100% natural foods that come from a source. Don't just be eating some random shit that you find in the grocery store. Don't be eating all that like random bakery stuff and random prepackaged foods. Those are really bad for your gut, and they're really bad for you. And I can talk about gut health a lot because I'm really interested in this stuff, but they're extremely shitty for you, and I don't recommend eating them. I just recommend eating whole natural foods that come from a source, right? These things are going to be really good for your testosterone. They're going to be extremely good and healthy for your recovery. They're going to help you sleep. They're going to boost your mood. If you have to work on a big project or study for like a school project, they're going to really make you feel better than if you were just eating some prepackaged like Hot Pockets or something. So remember, stop eating what's convenient and eat what's actually healthy. And a lot of people in these videos never list things off, so I'm going to list some things off for you. Eggs, meat, all kinds of vegetables. Like I recommend root vegetables. It's like sweet potatoes, carrots, but normal potatoes, things like that. What else? There's all kinds of things. Healthy carbs, rice, Brown rice I'm a little iffy with. I don't really eat brown rice, but if you like it, you like it. Obviously fruits like bananas, watermelon, blueberries. Blueberries is really good for brain health. I always have blueberries after I spar, although I don't know if it's helping, but I might still be developing the CTE. However, blueberries are really good for brain health. Raspberries, blackberries. Like I said, fish and meats, steak, beef. I love beef. I don't really like chicken that much. However, I do really like salmon. I love salmon. I like beef. I like stuff like that. Eggs, obviously. Eggs. Like, who doesn't like eggs? Sounds cliche, but raw milk's really good for you. See, I'm really, really big on a whole ingredient food diet, like a natural primal diet. Another one is yogurt. Find some good yogurt, some good butter, some grass-fed butter. And because I think it's not that this is like the TikTok trend or whatever. This is what new eating looks. This is like what eating should look like. And people really are stuck in their way of just, oh, I should eat just the basic stuff, and this is too expensive for me. It's not. Companies are just keeping you hooked because you have an addiction to unhealthy food. And as an athlete, you need to not have that addiction. You need to stick with what is not convenient. You have to go out of your comfort zone, learn to cook things, simple things, get an air fryer, get something simple that you can cook your meats and all your stuff in, and just put together simple meals. Oatmeal is another good one. I just wanted to add that. And this all boils down to what's going to be the thing you're most consistent with. What's going to be the diet that you're going to want to do every day. And I don't even call it diet, call it a lifestyle. If you ever read the book Atomic Habits, it talks about making things a lifestyle instead of calling them like something quick, like I'm doing this habit for 30 days. No, this is your life. Make this habit your life. This is just what you do. You just eat this way. You just eat healthy. And then I always think of it like 80-20 or 90-10 or 85-15, whatever you want to call it. 80% of the time, I'm eating extremely healthy. I'm eating whole foods. I'm eating natural foods. My mom cooks all kinds of healthy stuff. I'm eating that. I'm doing stuff like that. But the 20% of the time, maybe I'm with family one day and I eat a lot more with family. And that's fine, because one day or 2 days is not, if I'm with family, it's not going to make me fat, or it's not going to like hurt my performance that bad. Maybe I might feel a little bit shittier during the week, but that's all right. I might feel a little shittier during the week, but then I also have my electrolytes. I sweat some of that shit food out, and I feel better. You have to realize we're all human, and that's awesome. The sun just beamed down on me as I said that. We're all human, and we're not perfect. So allow yourself the chance to eat something like the piece of cake or the cinnamon bun. I'm just listing things off I like. The brownie, just the sweet treats. And I really take a lot of advice like this. I take the 80-20 rule from another YouTuber named Frankie Davey. He's a boxer. He's a really good pro boxer. And he talks a lot about this. I think it's extremely smart because, dude, again, we are not all perfect. We are humans, and we must all realize that we can't stick to them 100% of the time. Sometimes it's just not realistic. Sometimes you're out with family and things come up. You know what I mean? And you just got to enjoy life sometimes. You can't just go around stressing yourself out, because the more you stress yourself out, the shittier your training sessions are going to feel. Your cortisol is going to be through the roof. Your sleep and your recovery is going to be absolutely horrible. So don't stress yourself out about small things like that. I was just about to end my walk, and one thing I realized is that I forgot to mention is tracking calories. If you're a combat sports athlete, I don't recommend you track calories. It gives you an eating disorder, in my opinion. I mean, when you're in camp and you're near a fight, yes, please track your calories and please diet down so you can lose the proper weight without feeling like death. However, tracking calories on a daily, normal basis has really fucked with my brain personally. And I think just eating natural foods will keep you in a good deficit or a good maintenance. It depends what your goals are, but I recommend not starving yourself, number one, but also not excessively overeating. Just stay within a certain, I guess, like, you could track for a little bit, but knowing what you eat is a lot better. Like, knowing that you have quality food is better than just tracking calories and stressing yourself out about, oh, I went over 100 calories. It's not gonna matter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. There should be some clips of me doing random things like making eggs and potatoes and stuff in this video. I also just have walked up and down this hill at least 5 times, and there's another hill I walked up and down because it's quiet and I keep running into people, like random bikers and stuff on this trail. So let's hope I don't run into any more people. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you go check out my YouTube shorts and my other stuff. God bless.